Foxhole Airborne has been delayed once again, with Siege Camp announcing that the update needs more time before release. While disappointing for many players eager to take to the skies, I'm sure the extra time will help the developers avoid major bugs and improve the overall experience. The dev stream that gives us a preview of Airborne is now set to come out sometime in January 2026, and the actual update will launch in February 2026. This is what the devs had to say about how the update is coming along. Work on Foxhole's next major update is advancing steadily, and the team is heads down every day focused on bringing Airborne to release. Current development is focused on completing content and getting it to the final stage of the pipeline." End quote. I really wish that with announcements like this they'd balance out the bad news with a bit of good news. Even a few new concept images or early looks at what they're working on would help keep interest alive until January. I'm still hopeful we'll get more details about the update before the end of the year. Some players are so eager for new Airborne content that they've started creating their own concept art. I was especially impressed by one render showing what a ship-based aircraft carrier would look like. While I doubt we'll see anything like that when planes first release, I wouldn't be surprised if something like this comes out later on. Speaking of the Navy, it's worth remembering what happened when that update first launched. There were plenty of bugs and glitches with how ships worked, and things definitely didn't run smoothly at the start. Hopefully the reason the devs are taking extra time with Airborne is to avoid those same issues, or at least reduce how often they happen when planes are introduced. Another thing to keep in mind is how long it took for the new ships to appear in the first Navy war. Most of them didn't get teched until around day 15, so even when planes arrive, it's likely to be a couple of weeks before they're actually seen in battle. And of course, we can expect a fair bit of drama when planes first come out. One faction will probably get a unique aircraft that the other doesn't, just like what happened with the Navy update, and this caused a lot of frustration with the player base. Next, there will probably be fights over resources as well. Rare metals will likely be needed for plane production, so expect regiments to scramble from field to claim them. Your airfields will probably be raided by friendly players too, either for materials or even for the planes themselves. Make sure to lock everything down and restrict access to only your regiment if you don't want to wake up missing planes. I'm not saying all of this to sound negative, I'm just trying to set realistic expectations before Airborne launches. There will be glitches, faction drama, and chaos, but things will calm down over time as the community adapts. One final note, balance will almost certainly be off at the start as well. Personally, I'd rather see planes released slightly overpowered, so they feel exciting and impactful before being adjusted later, rather than launching too weak and making the update feel underwhelming. Some players already have the mindset to keep expectations low. This is what one player had to say: "I'm a bit apprehensive for the Airborne update. This will be the biggest change to the Foxhole battlescape ever, even bigger than the Navy update." End quote. I think this is the correct way to go into the Airborne update. Players should keep their expectations in check and stay patient as we get closer to the update. Major updates like this always take time to polish, and it's better for the devs to take the extra time to get it right rather than to rush out something broken or unfinished. There will likely be growing pains early on, but that's part of any big addition to Foxhole. If we stay patient and give constructive feedback, the update will only get better over time. Here's what one developer said we can expect the planes to feel like: "We are still iterating on the controls, but overall we are aiming for a balance between a flight sim and action game experience." End quote. I'm really curious to see how fast these planes will actually be. From the trailer, it looks like they could cross entire regions in just 20 to 30 seconds. That makes me wonder, will there be enough space for proper dogfights and real plane-to-plane combat? The devs have stated that they have been working on implementing planes into the game for over 2 years now. This was one of the earlier comments they said about the control of the planes. Implementation started early 2024, and I'd say it took about half a year of on and off development to reach a stage where we were confident. The most exciting part of the process was the first time we were able to climb into a cockpit and take off and fly around the world on our internal servers. The flight model started off really realistic, so it took quite a bit of skill to even take off at first." End quote. The part that caught my attention the most from that quote was the mention of it taking skill just to get the plane off the ground. Foxhole isn't typically a game that relies heavily on mechanical skill, so it makes me wonder, are the devs intentionally trying to add a new layer of skill-based gameplay with planes, or is it simply a byproduct of how they're being developed? When the major Navy update launched, Foxhole hit its highest player count ever, around 11,000 players, and there were even 3 servers running just to handle the load. I'm curious to see if the Airborne update will break that record, or if the repeated delays will cause the hype to fade before it finally releases. I'll be honest that I'm a little disappointed that we have to wait another 2 months before we get any more Airborne updates. and another 3+ months before we can start flying in the planes. At least the devs are giving us a Relic War to enjoy while we wait. The last one took place during War 107 back in September 17th, 2023, over 2 years ago now. For anyone unfamiliar, Relic Wars feature special limited time vehicles, many of which are early war designs. Most of the excitement tends to happen in the early war, as they normally start to fall off mid to late war, as more powerful vehicles come onto the battlefield. I do wish the devs had added a new Relic vehicle this time around. A Relic Navy ship would have been awesome, or even if it broke the immersion a bit, bringing back the mechs from Dead Harvest would have been incredible. Maybe I'm just an old grumpy vet, but I think we're long overdue for something fresh and unique to make Relic Wars feel exciting again. Over the next few months, I expect Foxhole's player numbers to dip a bit as many players wait for the new airborne content to arrive. These upcoming wars will likely be quieter, making it the perfect time to try new roles or experiment with parts of the game you haven't explored before. Once this current war wraps up, I'm planning to focus entirely on Navy gameplay and island life until Airborne releases. I haven't spent much time participating in naval battles or island logi, so it'll be a nice change of pace. I'll be Colonial for War 129 and Warden for War 130, so if you know of any good Navy groups to join, drop your suggestions in the comments below. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Airborne delay. Are you glad the devs are taking extra time to polish it, or are you frustrated that it's been over a year since the trailer with no release yet? Let me know below. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support. Make sure to subscribe for more Foxhole content. I'll see you out on the battlefield. Cheers.